or to remove the others.
Right, so why don't we table these minutes and you can watch the recording, because it's all on, yeah. Okay. Yes, okay. Okay, I will look for it right now.
We have more fascinating things to do tonight.
Right. Okay. Okay. Let's see.
Find your way through my.
Oh, and I emailed you those minutes too.
You did?
Yeah,
Oh, look at
You are now.
I'm sure I did after the fact.
Is there any
She's
penalty
good.
for not having responded in time?
I don't think so.
So you
I'm gonna-
note that she, that our town
Or
clerk is out.
recording it already. Yeah. Okay. All right, all right.
I think that's not me.
Someone must have the computer on. Mine is.
Sorry.
I'm sorry about that.
Three, four, five.
He's on here.
And Dale is gonna join us remotely.
Okay. Yes, I'll put him back over.
He logged in.
Yes.
And Eric is joining remotely.
Yeah.
And Jeff is here. Jeff is here. And Molly is here. Excellent.
Okay.
We're all here.
Okay.
Welcome, welcome. We are calling the meeting to order at 5:01.
And the select board
For the-
will call to order our meeting.
Oh, I was just gonna say for the library building committee and the
And the
select.
select board call our meeting to order.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Do we have any public comment? Seeing and hearing none. We will go on to the contractor review. Neil, you sent us this review this afternoon, and I would like you to go through it with us if you'd like.
Sure. Has everyone seen it?
Yes.
Yes.
I got yeses, I got nos, I got all kinds of responses.
Yeah, you got a no for me.
Okay,
No.
I'll throw it up on the screen if somebody will permit me to share.
1 second, Neil. There you go.
All right, can everybody see that?
If you could make that a little bit larger. There you go.
That was me.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. I will just, I'll just read it if that makes the most sense, and people can feel free to stop me with any questions that they have.
Okay.
To the town of Shutesbury, from myself at Construction Monitoring Services, dated today, June 12th. Recommendation to award Shutesbury Library construction contract. With regard to the responses received for the advertisement and solicitation of bids for the Shutesbury Library projects, please see our review/recommendation to award below. A total of 5 general bids were received for the work associated with the new Shutesbury Public Library. Bid prices range from $6.386 million up to $7.370 million. A review of the bid documents and update statements were performed on the 3 lowest bidders with the following findings. The apparent low bid was submitted by Construction Dynamics of Clinton, Massachusetts. Their bid price was $6,386,000 with an alternate one price of $55,000. This contractor's DCAM single project limit is $8.2 million. Their aggregate work limit is just over $28.5 million. And from a review of their update statement, their work in progress is $14.1 million. So in terms of reviewing their qualifications, CDI meets the parameters for single project limit and aggregate work limit based on the award or the full award of the construction contract and alternates. In terms of the work that was reflected in their update statement, they have 11 completed projects since their last update, including renovations and new construction in a wide variety of building types, including recreational facilities, interior fit out for various markets, bank renovations, water and sewer department upgrades. The body of work in progress includes 12 projects in various states of completion and on a variety of commercial structures, including banks, recreational buildings, and pump stations. Projects appear, again, to be in various states of completion, with outstanding balances on those contracts ranging between $400,000 to $3.7 million, total in aggregate of $14.1 million. Reference checks performed on Construction Dynamics included 3 references: David Larson from Warner Larson Landscape Architects, who had done 2 projects with them. They were bleacher and concession stands projects in Billerica and Cape Cod Tech. Their work was rated to be excellent, very much of a team player, doing an amazing job. They felt very fortunate to have them as a general contractor on the subject projects. I also spoke with Mark Barrett from the town of Lexington. They did a cemetery department administration building and garage at an estimated cost of $3.4 million. I spoke with Craig Blake and gave a personal reference for work that they did on both a CMS project and a town of Sudbury project. It was a fire station addition worth just over $4.5 million. My opinion, they were an excellent contractor, great attention to detail, excellent or good site supervision, and very fair on contract changes. Overall, it was a superior project. As part of their update statement, they are required to identify a superintendent and a project manager. They indicated that those positions were to be determined. I noted no anomalies on the bid form. The bid appears to be responsive to the invitation for bids, and the bidder appears to be responsible and possess the skill and experience necessary to complete the work of the Shutesbury project. An award to Construction Dynamics of Clinton, Mass. Is recommended. Per the MBLC requirements, we did also review the update statements and work in progress from Cronenberger and Sons, Middletown, Connecticut, who was the second place bidder. Their price was $6,688,000, and their alternate one price was $36,345. Their single project limit is $12.6 million. Their DCAM aggregate work limit is just under $31.5 million. Their current work in progress is just over $13 million. So they also meet the parameters for both single project limit, aggregate work limit based on a full award of the contract plus the alternates. They had 11 completed projects, including historic building renovations, door and window replacement, and masonry work in various building types, including churches, libraries, and museums. They had 12 projects in process on a variety of commercial structures, including banks, recreational buildings. Scope of services was identified as historic building renovation, restoration, roof replacement, doors and windows. Projects were at various stages of completion, with outstanding balances ranging from $40,000 up to $6.7 million and aggregating to $13.1 million in total. We did not conduct reference checks. They certainly could be done if necessary. The update statement noted a supervisory personnel, included both names and resumes, and they appear to have experience and qualifications necessary to complete the project. There were no anomalies noted on their bid form, and their bid appears to be responsive to the invitation for bids. Kiter Corporation from Florence, Massachusetts also submitted a price. Their proposal base bid was $6,829,969. with an alternate one price of $26,070. Their single project limit is $10 million. Their aggregate work limit is just shy of 55.6 million. And their current work in progress is $12,629,512. They meet the parameters for single project limit, aggregate work limit based on full award of the construction contract and alternates. The body of work reviewed included 5 recent projects, including general building construction, on farm, public media, and school projects, ranging in value from $325,000 to $14.2 million. They had 5 current projects in process in the category of general building construction, including schools or related construction at Smith College and Western New England University. The scope of services appear to be renovation and new construction for those projects, and they appear to be in various stages of completion with outstanding balances ranging between $580,000 to $5.1 million, totaling an aggregate of $12.6 million. Again, we did not conduct reference checks. We will do those if needed. And the update statement noted supervisory personnel by providing names only, but no resumes. There were no other anomalies noted on their bid forms, and the bid appears to be responsive to the invitation for bids. Be happy to take any questions the committee may have relative to that document.
Are there any questions?
I have a
Jeff?
few questions. So can we go back to the apparent low bidder,
Sure.
Construction Dynamics? Are they GC or CM?
They are GC, so far as I know.
And do you know what trades they're gonna do themselves?
I do not, but I know that they have their own site work division. On my past project that I did with them, I think that they also self-performed carpentry and window installation. I can certainly ask that question and make sure that, or further refine. Honestly, I'm not sure that they'll have a direct answer, as they really haven't done the buyout process. And that will largely dictate what they self-perform and what they sub out.
Okay. So it looks like most of their work is done on their other projects, but I don't really know much about their staffing level. You have more knowledge of them. Do they have enough people to take on this job?
We had no issues, Jeff, with them on the project. That Sudbury fire project occurred over the last 14 or 15 months, and they performed excellently. I couldn't say a bad thing about them.
Okay.
Any other
Okay.
questions?
I just had a question about, in going through the due diligence, is there any review of any outstanding litigation against the firm? Is that looked at just to understand, are there any lawsuits pending?
I believe that they are required to disclose any pending litigation in their update statement, and I don't recall seeing it, but I can certainly make a second check of that.
Okay, well, you know, one of the things is just outstanding litigation and then conformance with prevailing wage law. That, you know, have there been any violations? I mean, it looks like they've been doing public projects so that they're familiar with prevailing wage and the reporting requirements.
Yes. I can only speak to the Sudbury project, in which there were no outstanding claims and there were no prevailing wage issues that have been brought to my attention.
Great, thank you.
Eric, did you have something you wanted to say?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Neil, what's the difference between the parent low bidder bid and the second bidder's bid, dollar wise?
roughly $300,000,
Okay, so
round
it's
numbers,
it's more than the
5%.
alternate. Okay. Okay, it's more than the alternate. All right.
Yes,
Okay, so if we took the alternate, it won't kick us up.
it would not.
Okay.
Nope.
All right.
Any other questions from the committees, either committee? I'm willing to entertain a motion from the library building committee.
I make a motion and we go with construction dynamics.
That was Jeff. Do I hear a
Yeah.
second?
Second that, Brad.
Brad? Any more discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Antonellis, aye.
Dallas, aye. Foster, aye.
Pool eye.
Jake's aye.
Quackenbush, aye.
Paleo, aye. Is a unanimous vote to recommend that Construction Dynamics be entered into contract with, by the select board to build our new library.
Okay, so we'll have a select board discussion now. Are there any comments or questions from select board members?
Elaine, if you would, I have one clarifying question to ask. And that is it the will of the building committee that they enter into a contract inclusive of the alternate or not, just the base bid only?
Could you refresh my failing memory on the, what is the alternate?
It is a provision of ceramic tile, I believe. It's a substitution of some flooring for a ceramic tile in lieu of resilient. And the cost is about $55,000.
And the light fixture.
No, the light fixture is not an alternate.
No, right, the light fixture, we were going to put in the infrastructure for it, and the light fixture was going to be at a later date. So it's just the tile.
I assume we were
We're
voting
talking
on the
just
base.
tile and bathroom.
Excuse me, what was the?
Could you define the limits of the tile?
I can jump in here if that's helpful. So the adult was, so we currently own as part of the base bid resilient flooring for the lobby, the circulation desk space, and epoxy flooring for the restrooms. The alternate was then to switch those two floor finishes out for tile. So lobby, circulation area, and the restrooms, as well as include tile up to 4 foot on the wet walls for all 3 restrooms. And that was it. So we do own infrastructure for that lobby light fixture as part of the base bid, but we omitted the fixture itself. And that is not a part of the add-on.
Right.
And Neil, the price from the alternate price from the second low bidder was about half.
$36,345. So 60% round numbers.
I don't know. I'm getting the feeling that these guys are gouging for the alternate.
Can I interject?
What about?
Yes.
So I felt like we were voting on the base bid and that we would discuss the alternate separately. And that makes me wonder whether you want to have us finish and give you a complete thing first?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
because you're making the recommendation to us.
Yeah, and the recommendation
Right.
should be complete.
Yes.
Okay.
So can we then move on to the alternate and just, okay, great.
Yes.
So Jeff, you were saying you felt like, I'll rephrase it, that the bid we just approved, the contractor we just approved, their alternate is quite high. Does that make you not want to do the alternate with them? Do we have any? I didn't think we had any ability to negotiate.
You don't have the ability to negotiate, but you can do a change order later. If you have money left over.
So we could do the base bid without the alternate, and then if we have the money, we can add, as a change order, we can add the tile in at that point.
Exactly. Now, doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna add it in at the same price.
Right, I remember, I think it was Neil told us that, you lose either way.
Yes.
Right,
I think,
whether you take it out or put it in later, you lose either way.
Yeah, but we're not
Right.
taking it out later, we're taking it out now,
Right.
so
Right.
that
if
doesn't
you,
really apply.
if you take it out now, I think what, I'll paraphrase, if you take it out now, that means we don't have it. But if you put it in later, it's gonna cost us more than the 55,000 probably.
You'll have change order fees and stuff related.
Right, so you can have the change order fees, et cetera.
So it could cost you more. It depends on what the contractor wants to do.
What do you
Now,
mean?
you can negotiate a change order. Now, you don't always win.
And it sounds like we have space to negotiate with this particular change order, just because it's high.
Could be more realistic.
Mary Ann, were you trying to say something?
Well, I just think we're already over budget. We haven't even started yet. I think that we just have to let that go for now. And, you know, put in the good quality resilient floors that we specified. And, you know, I just think we don't know what other costs might come down the line. And we, you know, we already need to fundraise to meet the project costs. So I can't in good conscience add another $55,000 to that.
If we did approve the adult, would it be included in the MBLC grant, the 75%, or is this totally our cost?
It's an eligible cost.
Ineligible.
Eligible.
It's eligible.
But remember, it's an eligible cost, but the MBLC is partnering with us to build an economical library. And so, you know, so we've chosen good quality products that will last a very long time. And I don't really think that it's fiscally responsible to, you know, to just say, well, we can be on the hook for another $55,000 because the MDLC is going to pick up the tab. I don't think that's fair to them. They're already spending more money on this project than anybody ever imagined.
And I think that being a pilot, we want to be extremely sensitive to that and to really keep the costs as close to what they have agreed to as possible, because as Marianne said, we have no idea, you know, what's coming that we haven't even thought of. And Dale, I see your hand is up.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we decline the alternate.
Did you say decline?
Yes.
Decline.
I'll second that motion. Is there any
Second.
further discussion?
Who seconded?
I seconded, yep. And Jeff. Either.
That's decline the alternate.
Decline the alternate. Any more discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Antonella's aye.
Alma's aye.
Foster, aye.
Pool, aye.
Jake's? No.
Molly?
Aye.
Quackenbush, aye.
Vallejo, aye. All right, so we have, much to Penny's regret, we have declined the tile alternate. And that's gonna be the first thing she's gonna put back in when we receive
$1 million.
$1 million.
A lot of money.
A lot of money, right? She'll be tiling it herself.
Yes. I know how to do that.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
we are sending to you Construction Dynamics with a bid price of $6,386,000.
okay, we're back. Select Board, Eric, Melissa, any comments, questions regarding the bid or process or anything else?
I do not.
It's all good by me.
Eric, you're good? Okay,
Good,
so
yep.
I will entertain a motion to approve Construction Dynamics as the contractor for the Shutesbury Library, with a bid of $6,386,000.
So moved.
Second, or, yeah, second.
Any further
I
discussion?
agree.
Okay. All right, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker, aye.
Carol, aye.
Wow.
Well,
So I just,
you guys do all the work.
so I know, the contract has been drafted. What are the next steps, Neil? Can you just kind of outline timing now?
So we will issue a notice of award based on the recommendation to the select board in the base bid amount. We will issue that award letter dated tomorrow, June 13th. I'll send it over to Mary Ann this afternoon to endorse on town letterhead, and she can send it back to me and we'll forward it along to the contractor. In addition, I will also send them the contract that we received back from town council last week and ask them to execute the contract and return it with their performance and payment bonds and certificates of insurance. I would expect that process will take roughly 1 to 2 weeks to complete that. So with any luck, we will have a contract back to the town to be fully executed no later than the end of the month. That would be my guess.
Andrea and Heather, does that time frame work for you?
So since you are deciding to enter into a contract, and Neil, if you could let us know if there are any issues with the general contractor when you contact them about this, we are going to issue payment because we have to before it's fully executed. So we are going to go ahead on that leap of faith and send out that payment because we can't wait any longer than the 21st.
Right. So that is payment in what amount?
Please.
So your payment is going to be $3,172,800. I'm sorry, let me start over. $3,172,815.
Okay. Wow, okay. We're moving. Jeff, you have a question?
Who drew up the contract? Neil or the town's attorney?
Jeff, we provided them with the contract that was issued with the bid documents.
Okay.
And town council made some edits and sent it
Okay.
back to us. So council has reviewed it.
And is there a 5% retainage?
I believe that that's statutory in Massachusetts.
So the answer is yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
What does that mean?
They retained 5% of the contract. until
Every
the
payment.
project is distributed, every payment.
And the accountant will set that up from the
Okay.
beginning. When you establish, when she receives this first tranche of money, she'll be setting up, that 5% separately, so you won't be able to spend it and, you won't think you have more money than you do.
But it can be in an interest-bearing account.
I think
Or no.
that's what, I don't know for sure.
All right.
After that.
Okay, well, it has to be, so we'll, yeah,
All the other money has.
right, yeah, okay. Okay. Well, so we have to retain 5% of the 6 million.
Every time they send an invoice,
Okay,
every invoice, they retain 5% of.
Okay.
As you
And
go.
they are who?
They are the contractor.
The
So the contractor will be billing you as you go.
okay,
And say, the town holds the 5% aside
okay,
and pays the
Construction
contractor the 95% of every invoice. And then when the town signs off on the project, when we get approval from our architects and OPM that the project is final, then the retainage is the last payment
I see.
to the contractor.
Upon inspection of work.
Thank you. Dominic, do you have anything?
Andrea.
Oh, Andrea, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I just wanted to bring up something since you're all here. We've been seeing kind of a spate of schemes and, fraud on construction projects with the town of Orange, the town of Arlington. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that that is something that has been happening as you're talking about payments to contractors.
What do you mean by the?
Yeah,
So they were being fraudulently charged. So someone set up, invoices that looked like they were legitimate coming from the contractor. And I think it was over $300,000 in the case of Orange, and then around $500,000 in the case, or $400,000 in the case of Arlington. So just to be aware of that. I don't know if there's any extra precautions you want to take in terms of how things are invoiced, but I just wanted to bring it up in case it wasn't on your radar.
It's on our radar. In fact, our current accountant had retired from Orange right before that happened. And she has the highest, she's an excellent accountant. Our auditors give her high marks. She has been looking into that issue since she learned about it and talking with the folks in Orange, making sure that she takes every precaution possible. But in fact, some people feel that her departure is part of the reason they didn't have the skill level and experience in Orange at the time when they made the error. Because they could have, but they did better than they could have. It was $800,000 worth of bills, and they caught it before they paid out the last $500,000.
And so all of the bills for this project go to Neil, and then Neil sends them to Elaine and I.
Right.
So and the bill should only come from, people we know, right? So this, in the grand scheme of things, this is a pretty small project. So the bill should only come from Odinzello or the general contractor or other people that we may hire along the way, but it's going to be a pretty small pool. So we're aware of what happened in Orange, and and so Neil, we wouldn't be getting any bills. They would be going through you. We're not going to pay anything unless you approve it.
Well, hopefully that's correct. I don't mean to dictate your policies and procedures. We will provide you with a letter each month indicating that we've reviewed the invoice and recommending payment for any project-related invoices that pass through our office. I will add the added wrinkle that we have had an experience where a fraudulent request was made for an awarding authority to wire money to an account in the general contractor's name. And that was in fact a fraudulent request. And the wire was completed. And the town was able to recover all of the funds after involving local, state, and federal agencies to recoup the funds. So in the ideal world, paper checks, hand delivered when possible, is always the preferred method. Please do not respond to any request to wire through email from a contractor.
No, everything would have to be coming through you, I'm assuming, and we wouldn't pay for anything that wasn't coming through you.
Right.
Right, but just to dot the I and cross the T, that's the way it was handled on the other job. And the awarding authority received an email from this fraudulent entity. And they knew about the payment amount, what was authorized. They had followed the entire thing. Don't underestimate these less than honest people. They are
They have such
extremely
skills.
intelligent.
They only use it positively.
You know, it really is ridiculous.
So Melissa has a.
I have a question, yeah. Would you be submitting an AIA requisition for each payment that we give to you, or is just a letter?
The AIA requisition will be completed by the contractor and endorsed by the architect. Non-AIA firms, if you will likely just submit invoices.
What is AIA?
AIA is an architect format for requisition. Neil, I'm in construction, I prepare them for the projects I work on.
Yep.
Including the ones I work on, we give the backup, so they're usually about 300 pages long. So they're just the format of payment. It's an invoice, just a construction invoice.
Okay.
Yeah. Multiple levels of signature and notarization.
Well, thank you
We'll get you to look at them.
for that information. We'll keep our eyes out for that. We're not going to hopefully be fooled.
No, and Gail is very, very diligent. I mean, she's tough as nails. She just, she'll be watching. And this has really set her alarms on having heard, a town where she had worked had this experience. It
It's hard.
was very unfortunate that she had just left a few months earlier.
Yeah. Dominic, do you have anything to add to this conversation?
Not specifically, no. Excited that things are moving along. And I guess with regards to fraudulent, in my experience, 8 years at Odin-Zeller, we have not experienced anything like this. I can't speak for Matt Odins, but yeah, so that's news to me, but I'm glad to hear that, we need to be vigilant. But excited nonetheless.
Thank you.
You're all set?
We are all set. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Do we want to do any of the minutes?
Oh, do we want to do the minutes? Why don't you
Yeah.
adjourn if you would like to, and then we'll finish with our minutes.
Okay, we don't have anything else for tonight? Okay,
All
right, do-
Monday.
okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? Eric, did he leave?
No, he's connecting again. I guess we can end.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
But you can't end the Zoom because we're on your.
No,
Okay.
I was
They're free to go.
Yeah, they're free to go.
Okay.
I just can't shut this and turn it off.
Oh, so you have control of
Well,
the
I
Zoom.
can't
Okay.
unplug anything because she's not plugged in.
Oh, okay, all right.
The
Well,
whole
we just
studio
have
goes
minutes.
down.
We just have
Okay.
minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so,
Okay, yes.
all those in favor of adjourning?
Make peace, O'Neill, aye.
Farrell, aye, and, Stocker will abstain, I guess, since he's missing.
Becky, if I unplug this, the whole screen goes down.
Okay.
'Cause I'm
Okay,
not-
so now let's go to the meeting minutes from April 16th, was it?
Yes.
April 16th. Do I hear a motion to approve those minutes?
I have a motion to table, I'm gonna make a motion to table those minutes so that Penny can watch the recording to check a couple of things.
To check that, the highlighted in red
Yes,
decision?
yes.
Okay, All right, those minutes have been tabled. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
Do we need to vote on that or just not? Can we just decide to?
I think we can just decide.
We can just decide to table them because they're not complete.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of June 4th?
I move we approve the minutes of June 4th. That's Brad.
I second, Stephen.
Okay, any changes, corrections, or inclusions? Dale, Molly, or Jeff?
No.
And I will
I'm
say
good.
to Andrea
Nope.
that we did modify the numbers so it reflects the truth.
Thank you.
What was that?
Well, Andrea had a question about whether the MBLC was signing off on $6.2 million. And we adjusted the language so that there's no appearance of that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other changes? I don't see anyone. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Antonellis, aye.
Down the side.
Foster, aye.
Pool eye.
Jake's aye.
Moss, aye.
Quackenbush, aye.
Paleo, aye. Okay, when are we planning to meet again? Folks. What's our next step? Help me out here, Neil, Dominic, Marianne. What's our next step now?
So the next step is the sort of the getting the contract signed.
Right,
And that's
right,
Sort
yep.
of, that's administrative.
That's not us. Yep.
So I'd say we get and Dominic and you'll jump in if I leave anything out. We get the contract signed and then we have to, so when do we need to have a meeting? Like,
So,
do we
so
all have
I
a
would-
meeting with the?
So I would say, let's do this. Let's get the contract signed. We'll have an initial kickoff or an initial discussion with the contractor about their plans to mobilize and accept the site from the town. And when we have that information available to us, we'll schedule a meeting and we'll talk about what is expected from the committee each month moving forward. I would expect at that next meeting that we'll talk about things like authorizing change orders. Who has the right or who has the authority to exercise authorization and allow a contractor to proceed with extra work. It is typically not brought to a full committee, but rather to a subset of the committee that has been delegated to operate. I find it to be incredibly difficult to get an entire building committee available and ready. I mean, we could be meeting weekly at this point moving forward as issues present themselves. So I would give some thought as to who might be available on an ongoing basis to act. I would say 2, maybe 3 people would be sufficient, 2 signatures minimum required to move things along. And then, well, usually that's to an upset limit, and then we would engage a full committee discussion at anything over the high end of that limit. That makes sense to everyone.
Yes.
Yes, and then would it behoove us to probably have a meeting once a month to update the committee as to where we are in the project?
Yes, I would anticipate 1 meeting per month moving forward once construction begins. We'll review budget, advise on progress, bring any issues that are present themselves as the work progresses, and then approve bills if that's within the power of the committee.
Okay, so realistically, when are we talking about probably having them on site and actually starting?
So the execution of the contract normally will take, like I said, at least 2 weeks, with the July 4th holiday thrown in the following week. I would like to have a kickoff meeting with the contractor and determine when it makes sense for us to officially issue the notice to proceed. I would like to say that we would have a building permit in hand at that point in time. Usually the building permit application process takes a week or two. And I would not want to be in a position that we were asked for an extension of time because the town didn't issue a building permit in a timely manner. So I'm thinking notice to proceed maybe sometime mid-July, and we're looking at 12 months of construction thereafter.
Okay,
Dominic, if I could put you on the spot, and I'll apologize in advance. I'm assuming that you're gonna put together a set of conform documents that
Yes,
incorporates all of
that's
the
right.
addendum.
Correct.
Those will be needed in order to obtain the building permit. Can
Yep,
you
that's right.
give us an idea of when those documents would be ready?
I would like to have that ready by the time the contracts are all organized. So within 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
Just, excuse me, for clarification, what is it Dominic is putting together?
Conformed documents.
Yeah. So conform documents during bidding. There are questions asked about the set, the 100% CD set. Some additional information was provided during that process. I think we had 7 addendums, and some of that incorporated additional information for clarity. And that information needs to all be rolled into one conformed set of documents. That's inclusive of some specifications as well. So specifications and drawings both need to incorporate the bidding process and the revisions that happened within that, and then exclude any information about the adult as well.
And Dominic, I assume that you will reach out to the building official and ask about plans, what size, how many copies, et cetera, et cetera. And we
Correct.
will also let you know what we need on site for paper documents.
Yes. Inclusive, we need stamp drawings, and yeah, there's a bit of administrative process to that. Yeah. So in 2 weeks, I'd like to have something formal. I'll already start a conversation with the building inspector prior to that.
So I have a question about the building contract. It isn't the town that issues it, it is the county. And it requires sign-offs by a number of town groups, and it usually takes 2 weeks. So, just so you have that timeline, and who submits the paperwork for the building permit?
It comes from the contractor.
Dominic does? Was that?
Oh, it's the contractor. That's right. I'm sorry.
The contractor will file the building permit application. Dominic will be providing the conformed documents that are part of the permit application.
and we need the Conservation Commission to sign off tomorrow night on those 3 items before 2 items, I'm sorry.
But also the process is the Board of Health signs off.
Yes.
There's a, yes.
But we still
Yes.
need the conservation, we still need to go
Yes.
through this process with the Conservation Commission tomorrow night.
Yes, we do.
And they have another meeting in 2 weeks, but we have our documents into the Conservation Commission.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if
And
any
this-
of my committee is interested, it's at 7:45 tomorrow night is when the Conservation Commission is bringing our project to the floor.
Do we also need to go before the planning board for site plan review, or is that?
No,
No.
no, they said no. We
Yeah.
asked.
Yep, they said no. I'm assuming that you two are gonna be at the Conservation Commission meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, I will be there too.
Yeah.
Are you
Okay.
scheduling a groundbreaking ceremony?
Absolutely,
Then
absolutely.
you need to do it before the
When?
contractor takes over the site.
Yep.
But the contractor has to be on board before we can schedule it.
Right.
Yeah.
So during that first meeting,
We'll schedule
We'll
it,
schedule
yeah,
it.
during the first
Okay.
meeting.
all right. Doesn't the contractor bring the shovels?
I hope so.
I think we need our rusty old shovels for Shutesbury. Everybody bring.
Everybody bring your broken
shed.
shovel.
If it pleases the committee, I have 10 or 12 chrome shovels in the office that we can bring out if you need them.
Excellent.
That pleases us.
That really pleases us.
Hang it in the library.
We'll
Yeah.
beg for it.
I don't want to see rusted shovels in pictures.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Wow, he's getting fussy all of a sudden.
Okay, all right.
All right, so we will expect to be meeting sometime in mid-July, and I will give you all heads up warning about that. Somewhere probably the 16th, kind of put that on your calendar. Does that sound reasonable, Neil?
Sure.
Okay, so let's put that on the calendar, July 16th, actually. Let's just do it. July 16th, 7 p.m. will be our next full committee meeting. Any other business? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn, Stephen.
Do I hear a second?
Jeff, I'll second.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Antonellis, aye.
Delmas, aye.
Foster has left the meeting.
Pool eye.
Jake's eye.
Hockenbush, aye.
Paleo, aye. Meeting's adjourned as of 5:52 p.m. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
I'm very
You all.
excited.
Thank you. Bye.
So
Thank you,
meeting-
bye.
meeting at
Bye.
7.
Yes.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.